We are going into Danish Parliament to deliver a speech about free speech and the erosion of it and the importance of it. We're going to show a film called Silence, which is an absolute expose on the lengths that the state will go to destroy anyone who challenges their narrative and wants to share the truth with people. It's a pleasure to be here. I'd like to start by thanking Morton and the Danish People's Party and also the Danish Free Press Society for giving me this opportunity today. It's been roughly 3 years since I was last here. I'm still very grateful for that opportunity. I'm grateful for any opportunity to speak in Parliament. The documentary which we're going to watch today is called Silenced. But before we get onto the documentary, I want to talk a little bit about freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is the greatest liberty. It allows good and bad ideas to be heard. It allows truth to expose lies, and it allows good to expose evil. It's important to hear all sides of the debate so you can think for yourselves. You see, when they censored me, I've been deleted off of all social media. When they took away my voice, they didn't just cancel me, they cancelled you. They cancelled the public's ability to make their own mind up, to listen to the alternative view, to hear the other side of the story. They want to tell you how to think and what to think, especially about certain individuals like myself. Taking free speech is the first step to establishing their tyranny. The problem is when they took my free speech, everyone celebrated it. When I was deplatformed, when I was cancelled, every journalist, every media, and every politician celebrated the fact that I was cancelled. I was not put before any court. I've never been arrested or tried on any hate crimes or race crimes or anything like that. The problem they have, the censorship started with ourselves. We were talking about open border migration. We were talking about some uncomfortable truths around Islam. The problem being that governments don't want an open discussion about mass migration or Islam, as it will expose the catastrophic failures of their unilateral multicultural experiment that has failed across Europe. The problem is the goalposts continue to change. They keep shifting. You may find yourself on the right side of free speech today. It started off with censoring people like Tommy Robinson, like myself, and it was celebrated. Only now, it's scientists, it's doctors, it's nurses. The list of things you're not allowed to talk about. COVID, the vaccine, now transgenderism. It continually shifts. So to our haters and to our doubters, to the people who celebrate our censorship, at some point you may find yourselves on the wrong side of free speech, so long as we allow the state to decide what is acceptable to talk about. If you look at J.K. Rowling, she now finds herself as a hate figure for standing up for women. The next and what's coming in the future, minor attracted people, as they try to normalise the sexualisation of children. There has been no violent revolution, but the revolution has happened. Hate-filled progressive groups and ideas have infiltrated our schools and our universities. Their graduates have entered the corporate world and the public sector. They run the media. Some politicians believe and champion their ideas. Others dare not dissent. Big tech carries out surveillance on the population on behalf of the state. Anyone who read the Twitter files is fully aware of what's going on. Politicised police and judges are just following their orders. We are all custodians of the most priceless cultural inheritance of all, freedom of speech. Every single emotion and feeling you can think of a name, from fear to murder to torture to being locked in solitary confinement for your entire life. These are all feelings and emotions that people have gone through previous to us in order to preserve and protect freedom of speech. If we open up the dictionary, I've done it earlier, I opened up the dictionary and looked up the word free. It says costs nothing. Freedom of speech isn't free. It never has been. Millions of people have sacrificed and died in order to preserve that freedom that we have. When I read the word free and it says costs nothing, since exercising my freedom of speech, I've spent a year on solitary confinement. I've been in 10 prisons. I've had violent beatings. There's terrorists in jail for planning to murder us. 6 of the main British banks have closed me. PayPal have closed me. MailChimp have closed me. Every single social media social media company in the world have deplatformed me. I've had 15 years of court cases and state persecution for exercising my free speech. This is the battle of our generation. It will be viewed upon when we're successful. People will look back upon speeches like this. They will remember them. They will review them. And the film you're about to watch now, it's called Silence. It's just the behind the scenes of one story that I reported on. The only problem being, I've been given an injunction by the British state. I've been given an injunction that says I get 2 years in prison if certain information and truths are shown to the public. What could it be that the British establishment are that terrified of the public seeing? What you're going to witness is the proof of an unholy alliance of government and media conspiring together in order to drive and push a narrative around the world. You're also going to see the extreme lengths that they will go to silence any dissenting voices that get in the way of their narrative. I'd like you all to ask yourself, especially if you're watching this, what are you willing to sacrifice for freedom of speech? What lengths are you willing to go to protect it? I know that when I look at my children, and all of us should think about our children, and certainly the next generation, as we go into this big tech-controlled world of more control and less freedom, and know that I'll be able to look my children in their eye and tell them that I gave everything in my battle for freedom of speech and my battle to expose those who attempted to curtail it and take it from us. The stakes literally could not be higher. If we lose our freedom of speech, our freedom to think is what will become the next casualty. Scrutiny dies and tyranny reigns. Common sense, truth, and courage are contagious. They act like a disease that is unstoppable. It is my hope that this disease will continue to spread so we can reclaim free speech, so we can resist tyranny and preserve the cultural inheritance of equality, democracy, and liberty for future generations. I'd ask that people refrain from putting videos out of parts of the documentary. As I said, there's an injunction in place, and I believe it's in the words of Jesus Christ. They say, the truth shall set you free. Not anymore. Not in 2023. The truth shall get you 2 years in prison. We'll now watch the film. Thank you.
The news is how we find out what's happening in the world. It's how we form our opinions. Opinions based on facts. That's the key. Facts. Facts should be delivered to you by journalists based on the truth. But what if what they're delivering you isn't the truth? What if it's stories that are manipulated to make you think a certain way, to follow a certain narrative, different people's agendas? And what do they do to those who go against that mainstream narrative, those who try to expose the truth? This is a documentary about the lengths they will go to shut down and silence anyone from bringing you, the British public, the truth.
Now we have to stop, as there is an injunction that prevents the public from seeing this documentary, preventing you from seeing the evidence produced. Evidence gathered using covert recordings, countless hours of research and investigations along with witness testimonies. Now ask yourself this question. What is it they don't want the world to see?
Tragically, those who lead us don't seem to have the moral clarity or courage to speak the truth. They cause the division that they're trying to prevent. People ask me, was it worth it? Yeah, it was worth it. The truth is always worth defending. I'm still here. If you were born in the United Kingdom, you've already won the lottery of life. An inheritance from our parents and grandparents of freedom, equality under English law and democracy. If we allow ourselves to be silenced, that inheritance is rendered worthless. What legacy will we leave for the children and grandchildren who come after us? None of us can afford to let free speech die. We cannot and we will not be silenced.
Thank you.
I'm very humbled and I'm very honored that this movie depicting what sadly is the reality and the everyday experience of so many youngsters around, not only in the UK, not only in Denmark, but also in France, in Germany, all over Europe, experiencing the consequences of Muslim migration, has been inaugurated, has been having its premiere here in the Danish Parliament. Because I feel that Denmark, in some ways, are pivotal in the fight for free speech. And therefore I want, just from the bottom of my heart, to extend my thanks to you, Tommy, having maybe not suffered the greatest loss, but almost seeing your family falling apart for fighting what you know is the truth. And I hope that men, women, families all over Europe will find that as an inspirational force to, maybe not as eloquent, maybe not as brilliant, but in their own words, to bring to knowledge what is the truth and which the politically infected medias will not tell. So you are a lighting torch, and we will help you bring the light out all over the continent. Thank you.
Can I ask, after you watched that video, that film, what were your views on that film?
It was like I couldn't. Jesus didn't have like what you having to go through with your children.
You're going to start me off, You're going to start me off.
No, I just. And when you said that the truth was worth it, I was like,
we have also
thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Thank you. And tell us more about how it can be worth it and you can keep going. That's what I wanted to know, because that's what I doubt sometimes.
Do you value the content we bring you? We bring you the stories that no one else is willing to, but we can't do it without your help. If you can support us and help us, please go to urbanscoop.news/support us. We need your support.